Also, this video is going to be included as part of a washer tank, and the washer, the line, the hose that runs in here that feeds the jets. I'm going to replace those with new line today because I have a leak in my line. So I'm just going to kill two birds with one stone. So when you see me replace the line, you don't have to do that, but because I have a leak, I'm going to put all new line in. Okay guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to tape off the where the wipers are, and this is going to be used later when we install the wipers to line them up correctly, because you need to know the distance from the bottom of the hood, the plastic piece, to the wiper, and also to the side. Take off the plastic pieces. You can use a plastic tool or a screwdriver with tape on it so you don't scratch. Take the bolt off. It's pretty simple with a ratchet. Now when you guys install these back on, I'll cover the torque settings later in the video. There's one bolt on the right wiper, driver's side, and there's also another wiper on the passenger side. So take that bolt out as well. You want to store your bolts in a safe spot so you know where they are, and you put everything back together. And I suggest using two hands when you're taking off the wiper because it's spring loaded. So you can either use one hand to brace it and the other one to pull up as you snap it out, like so. Make sure you keep the wipers in the correct order because they're two different sizes. And what we're doing here is we're just taking off the weather sealant stripping. It's like a rubber strip. It's really easy to get off. You just slide it off, it pops right off. And just keep the orientation of how you took it off and put it back on the same way. Now right here is the plastic clips. You need to remove these. I just zoomed in here. Grab your plastic tool or screwdriver, and what we're going to do is going to reach down, push into the center. It's going to snap and undo, and then we're going to reach underneath and pop the clip out. So there's a couple clips along the edge here, and it just as it pushes in and out, it'll lock those that plastic piece in. Now as you see here, we're just moving from left to right and undoing the clips by pushing them in and pulling them out. And if you can't get the bolt out, you can always use your plastic tool, like you'll see right here. I reach underneath the plastic and pry up, and the bolt will pop out. See how I'm doing that right there? And we're just going to store those in a safe spot. Now on the side here, I'm zooming in. You can reach your plastic tool in and lightly pry out, and the plastic piece should pop out of the body, just like so. And there's another one on the other side. Now you can take these pieces right off the front wiper plastic piece, or you can leave them on, doesn't matter. And we're going to undo the washer hose that connects the top to the bottom where the pump is, and we'll be covering that later in the video, showing you how to replace the washer line completely. We'll just lift up gently, and we're going to remove the cover. Now you're going to do this if you need to work on the front wiper motor to run testing at the plug. We've covered that in another video, but this is how you access the front wiper motor and the plug. Okay, so now you got a washer jet here. Now this is a suggestion. Don't go prying on it like I'm showing you here. It's a big no-no. You will crack the plastic nipple, and then you'll have to order new Hyundai window washer nipples. Take a razor blade and cut the hose, and then remove the hose. That way you don't damage the nipple there, right? Because you don't want to be ordering parts because you didn't do this right. Now the reason why I'm replacing this whole line is because it no longer can hold its strength when clipped to the adapters down below the wheel well, which would spring a leak, and it popped right off the pump, and So I'm replacing all the line because after 6 years the rubber starts to lose its elasticity, and you'll probably end up with the same problem too with your car because this is an '09 accent. Now in order to get to the rest of the washer hose, I got to remove this piece here. These are like star tip screws. Speed up the video here. Put those in a safe spot so you don't lose them. Pop the piece off. It's pretty simple. That'll get us access to the washer line. Now we're going to unfeed the line. It just pops, holds on by underneath by some like plastic U-clips. Just pop underneath it, it pops out. Feed the hose out. And once again we're at a T-fitting. The hose is 532s. It's 50 inches of hose. So you need 50 inches minimum to do this. So that left about a foot and a half left after I was done replacing the system. Now I'm hooking a vacuum pump to the line here, applying a vacuum. This is to test to see if there's no leaks in the hose. I suggest you do this before you install the new hose because you could have a bad hose. Even though it's brand new, it could still be leaking. And you know, I don't want to do this job again. So apply a vacuum to the hose, test for leaks. Now this is that special T-fitting by Hyundai. You can't get those pieces out without breaking the plastic, so you're going to want to razor blade them. I'll speed the video up here. Remove each piece, and as you remove each piece, we're going to measure it to the new line and cut the pieces exactly the same length. That way the installation will be an exact replacement. So just take your time with the razor blade. You know, you're not going to do any damage to the plastic piece. All the hoses go in the garbage anyway. So now this is the metal, the hose. See the indent in the hose there? That was rubbing up against that piece there. So I got a little tip or suggestion for you guys. You see that little plastic tubing as I covered in the wire harness video a long time ago to protect the wire harness from rubbing against the cover? Well, there's an idea. See that I use the plastic tool? That's where it's rubbing against. Take some of this plastic tubing. These are for electrical. And put it around the existing washer tubing, and what that'll do is that'll protect the hose from getting damaged, from rubbing up against any other parts underneath there. So, and this is how it's fed. It goes through. See, it goes underneath the clips there. There's the new protective hosing to protect it. Runs down, comes over here, and feeds out. And that's all measured exactly to the existing tubing that was on. Piece by piece. Now as I put this piece on, you see how it's close to the tubing? That could rub and poke a hole and cause a leak. So you want to protect that tube from any possible leaks in the future. And you're going to put your star screws back in. I'm not going to show this. This is pretty basic stuff. Just hand tight, you know. There's no torque settings for these things. It's all plastic. And then, you know, so the plastic end pieces on each end are gone. I pulled them off so I could get the piece in nice and easy. And then they can snap right back on. So, it feeds in, pops right up, sits nicely. And then I'm going to put those pieces back in. They snap back into that plastic piece. And then they snap into the side of the aluminum. As shown here. Use your tool. You can use your tool, or you can just push in with your hand and they'll snap right back on in. Pretty simple stuff. And we're going to take our clips, and they're basically push them in, and they'll clip and lock in. The center little piece will come back up and be flush, and then you know they're locked in. So push them in there. There's a couple along the line here. I'm not going to show you the exact positions. You get the idea. One there, and there's another one at the end here. Just push it in until it goes clip, and then you're good to go. And then we're going to put our weather stripping on. Like I said, the way you took it off, just lay it down on the concrete or something, so you know you're putting it back on the same direction. Like, I don't know if it's going to make a difference if it's on backwards or forward, but I just put it on the same way I took it off, like so. And we're going to take our wipers and put them back on. Now there's a star pattern and it fits in and locks in on the bolt. So you can actually install these too close to the plastic piece or too far away from the plastic piece, which could cause them to hit up against the hood or the edge of the window. The hand thread our bolts on. Now that doesn't look like that was hand threaded because I just basically showing you a reverse of the video. Not about to record putting the bolts back on for you. It's too lazy. But always hand thread your bolts. And the torque sends will appear on the left side of the screen in that in the window thingy. I find it's easier to use this type of interface when trying to do instructional videos because you guys can read the text, see the images. Anyway, you're going to use two hands here. Hold it. It's spring loaded. And you're going to pop it in and then put the other bolt on. Line it up with the tape marks. There's another angle. Same thing. Pop the bolt on. And you're going to torque them down to the Hyundai spec. Remember, this is plastic and metal. So you could break these pieces. So just kind of like, don't go heaving on them. Then you're going to pop your end caps back on. Protect the bolts. Just push in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up the door, turn the key to the on position, and run a test. We're going to watch the wipers. You see how they're about an inch on the right, close to the mirror. That's exactly the proper position you want them. They were exactly put on the way they were taken off, vice versa, because of the tape marks. That just prevents the wipers from hitting the base as well. So, and then once you're done, you can take the tape marks off the window. Okay, now we're going to go to the bottom. These are the bolts. This is also some of the instructions to remove the bumper. These bolts here are screws or plastic. You're going to unscrew them and then reach up and grab them and pop them out. And those are simple bolts. I think they're 10 millimeter. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but anyway. These same star screwdriver, just lightly undo them, and then once you get up high enough, you can reach in and pop the little plastic clips off. These same clips are also on the wheel well, and we're only going to remove half of the ones on the wheel well. We'll show later. Now you got two bolts to hold the headlight on. There's one up there. Then you're going to have to reach over to the right of the headlight, and you're going to have to reach up and pop the plastic off of it pops off. If you pull up gently, you'll see it'll just pop. Wiggle it and it'll separate from the silver part. See how it's separated? And then you're going to reach behind. There's a bolt behind there too as well. You take that off. You're going to make sure you go behind the headlight and unplug the two plugs. There's two plugs. They're orange on the inside. They're simple. You just push the button, push and pull them out. There's no special clips holding on the plugs. And then once you got those plugs undone, you can actually just carefully remove the headlight. I'd throw it on a towel or something. You don't want to damage it. Keep it from scratching. Now there's those same two bolts underneath. These connect to the bumper and also to the inner wheel well. So remove those, and that'll get us access to get the wheel well out, or pull it away to access the washer tank and the pump. Now I'm taking the tire off. This took 30 minutes, as in another video. Now on the left side of the screen there's some tips if you have a stuck tire by users at the Hyundai forums. You can read those as we're watching the video to get a stuck tire off. I appreciate the help from the users over there. I found out after 30 minutes that I just took a simple sledgehammer, hit the rubber on the tire, not the rim, and it popped off. But it was a nightmare getting this thing off. It was really stuck on there. So, and like I said, there's a lot of good members over at Hyundai forums that can help you out with your car if you got any questions. So I'll get the tire off. Now we got to get these plastic clips off. There's a couple. There's one there. There's one up at the top. And where the bumper meets the wheel well, I didn't show it in the video, but up there there's a bolt, and you got to take that bolt off as well. I'll throw a diagram on the left side of the screen to show you what I'm talking about, because I didn't film it, but it's up there, and you got to remove that. And then the wheel well just basically comes off. Now I'm only removed half the bolts, because I don't need to remove the whole wheel well, and I'm just going to bungee it up against the spring as shown. I'm sorry for the exposure here. I had to increase it in order for you to see into the dark area, so my reflection on my shirt's really bright in the video, but I wanted you guys to see what I'm doing here, so I had to increase the exposure on the camera so you can see underneath those dark areas. Now I got a pair of pliers on a new washer line, and I'm gonna pop that hose off, and it's gonna start coming out, the liquid there. I'm gonna pop that in, and that's gonna keep my tank from draining out while I'm working on the washer line. So, and like I said, we're gonna feed this tube. Now I'm tying a string around here, or a piece of line, because I didn't know that when I fed the tube through the body, it was going to be a tight fit to get it out and put the new tube in. But later on I found out I didn't need to do this to get the tube out, because there's enough room between the headlight, the wheel well, and your hand in order to feed it through without the extra line. So now I've removed all the tubing. I got the new tubing in my hand. I'm going to measure it, and I've done this with the whole system, even the front wiper up on the underneath the plastic piece, and measure it exactly piece for piece and cut it. And remember, like I said, you need 50 inches of hose. It's going to leave you about 1.5 feet left after this job's done. So if you need to order the hose, it's like 80 cents a foot. This is like a $6 to $12 repair. Carefully remove your plug and push in the new tube in. Now be careful when you push it into the pump. If you break the little nipple, you're going to need to order a new pump, and that's like 30 bucks. And there's a connector right there, and we're going to push these two in, and that's going to snap in. Now that's where my leak was, right where that connector was. The piece fell off and it leaked all over the driveway. So, and we're going to feed it up there and connect it there to the top. And just a word of warning that this car is an '09, and the hose became like loose, so this could become a problem with you guys too as well. So you might want to think about doing this job to prevent your hoses from leaking. Now you're going to want to run a test like I've shown, and then you're going to want to put the bolts. There's the bolts for the headlight right there, one on there, one located right there, and put the headlight in, and don't forget to plug those two orange plugs in. Showing you right there. There's one there and there's one right there. Push them in, they'll snap in, and your headlight will work again. And there's the line. It feeds up, and now it runs into a clip. If you look carefully, you'll see a little clip right there. It snaps in there, and then it feeds its way up. So now we're going to remove the bungee. We're going to put back in those little plastic screws. They're simple. You screw them in a little, push them in, they pop in and lock. And then remember, there's one little screw up where the bumper meets the wheel well. That's a screw, and you're going to have to screw that in too as well. And put our tire back on, torque our nuts to 80 foot-pounds, star pattern with a torque wrench, and then pop our headlight back in, and we're going to torque the two bolts. Torque settings are on the left side of the screen. And don't forget to plug the plugs in behind the headlight, or they won't work. And those screw them in. Those connect to the bumper and the wheel well. Pop our little plastic screws back in. Screw them in, then pop them in, push them in. Don't forget the two bolts on the sides that connect to the silver bumper as well. And like I said, you're going to just hand tighten these. Don't go torquing on them, because plastic on plastic will break. So there you go, guys. Now this is wiper testing. This is going to be covered in another video. Wiper motor, and also the washer pump testing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, leave a comment, and you guys have a fine day.